Next thing you're going to need to figure out is how you're going to raise energy for your spell. This may not be important to some people, but it kind of is to me. I like my energy to match what I'm doing most of the time. For example, if I'm doing a spell that I regard as more earth rule oriented, like as in the element, I might dance because that seems more grounded and earthy to me. It could also be airy depending on your type of dance, but you kind of get where I'm going with this. If I'm doing a love spell or a spell for something I'm very passionate about, like a cause or something like that, I might do sex magic to raise energy. If I'm doing something that I regard as more water ruled, I might chant or sing. It kind of just goes with what I'm doing. And then if you're going to chant or sing, then you need to find a chant or write one that goes with what you're doing. If depending on when you're doing it, you could do a moon chant or goddess chant, or you could find a chant or write a chant that goes with what you're doing specifically. So those are things to consider too, because they are actually part of the casting of the spell, obviously, and they will kind of change your frame of mind and help you focus your will if you use them properly. The next thing you're going to have to figure out is how you're going to act after the spell is over. What are you going to do to make your spell work? If you did a love spell to find your perfect mate, are you going to create a profile on some dating sites? Are you going to go to singles events? Are you going to go out with friends and hope that you find someone when you're at a bar or a club? Are you going to join groups on campus to find people that you have your same interests? If you do a prosperity spell, are you going to start a new business? Are you going to start selling things online? Are you going to search for a new job? What are you going to do? Because that is almost arguably more important than the spell itself. If you don't have a plan on how to act after you cast the spell, before you cast the spell, it's probably not going to come to you after, and it's going to negate all the work you just did. So come up with that probably one of the first few steps. You need to decide if you're just going to cast the spell or if you're going to do an entire ritual devoted to the spell. The way I figure that out is probably what I'm in the mood for. Am I in the state of mind to do an entire ritual and write that entire ritual after I finish the spell? Do I feel like it needs that extra boost to get me in that frame of mind to find love or whatever? It just depends on your personal preference too. Some people will just draw a circle and do the spell, maybe invoke their deities, and then just do the spell and be done. Some people will do an elaborate ritual with all sorts of symbolism and things like that. It depends, like I said. You're also going to need to figure out if you're going to follow up magically. I'm sure you've probably seen by now that there are some spells that you do 3 times, or that you do 7 times, or that you do every night for an entire moon cycle, altered slightly over the cycle. That's personal preference. If you feel like your spell needs an extra boost, then fine. If you feel like it's complicated and you need to alter it every night to get the desired effect. For example, a while ago I did a spell to increase my own self-confidence and which would ultimately boost my bravery in a certain endeavor. So I did it over 3 nights at the full moon, 3 nights of the full moon, and I did a spell to draw upon my own inner strength. First night. The second night I did a spell to increase my bravery and confidence and stuff. And the third night I did a spell, it's kind of complicated because it's hard to sum up in that way. And the third night I did a spell to banish any negativity and fear. So that's kind of how I did that one, because it was so complicated what I was trying to achieve specifically that it took 3 nights for me to kind of clarify what I was doing. So that's the final thing that you need to figure out. After that, you need to write your spell, obviously, like the actual wording of your spell, what you're going to need, and all that. And once you have that figured out, you're ready to go. I'm not really going to cover exactly writing the spell because it varies. You might want it to rhyme, you might want it to be like Old English, you might want it to not be in English. It just depends on your own personal preference and your own path. But just know that there's no wrong way to write a spell. There really isn't. It could be as beautiful and poetic or as silly and nonsensical as you would like, as long as your intent is in there. As long as you are clear in your wording with what you want and set on your goal, you're probably going to be fine. Some people will throw in a disclaimer, I guess, in their last line, like, and it harm none, blah blah blah. But that's not going to stop your spell from harming anyone. But some people just feel better if they include that one. So that's the basics on writing a spell. I'm probably, as I said, going to include more of this in my ritual videos. And if you want to refer, I talk a lot about how magic works in my video on how magic works, which I'll probably include a link to down in the down bar. So if anyone has any more questions about writing spells, feel free to message me or post below, and I will help you as much as I am able. And I will talk to you guys later. Okay, bye.